So for this paper, you want to also practice having a very specific title. So think about in when you're doing some of the preliminary research in the library databases. You did the library orientation earlier this semester, and you looked at articles that were available to students or scholars in the library databases. Now imagine how difficult it would be to navigate the databases if the articles only had one sentence or one word titles, right? Where they were just like ecotourism or uh, genetically modified foods. You don't see that. What you see are very specific titles that let the reader know the purpose and the content of the paper. So for this assignment, I want you to also write a very specific title. Now we're doing a couple of things in this paper. One of them is we are engaging in rhetorical listening. So your paper's title could include the words rhetorical listening as a kind of a marker or kind of a key to let your reader know that's what you're doing here. You are engaging in rhetorical listening. You also want to make sure it's clear to your reader the 2 points that you're discussing in the paper. This is where it's also a good idea to go back to those subject headings and use those key words. And then you also want to make sure it's clear to your reader the This I Believe essay that you're focusing on. There are 3 key things your title could do. It identify the paper as engaging in rhetorical listening. It needs to identify the This I Believe essay that you are exploring in more detail. And it needs to identify the 2 points or the 2 key words or key phrases that appear throughout the paper. So here's an example. So for your academic paper, you want to give it a title that effectively overviews the content and the purpose of the paper. Effective titles give an overview. So imagine going to a library and looking for an article. So which title would be more effective and more specific? Environmental sustainability? Not so much. Ecotourism and environmental sustainability. It's getting better, but it's not great. Or identifying problems related to water and air pollution with ecotourism. That's a much more specific and effective title. So, some other examples of ineffective titles. You don't want to do this. I don't want to see this in your paper. Okay. Paper 2. That's not an effective title. Title, I've seen that before a couple of times. You want to actually put the title in there, right? Research paper, environment, water pollution, or This I Believe, rhetorical listening, Temple Grandin. Um, those are not effective titles. You want to focus for this paper on writing a title that identifies both the purpose and the content of the paper.